Chapter 1. The Whitfield Lake House. A Sunday in early summer. It was 7 minutes past 3 on a Sunday afternoon when my mother-in-law finally turned the laptop screen around and showed me what her younger daughter had written about her older daughter 2 months before her older daughter died. I had walked into that house holding a bottle of wine and a rehearsed apology. I was going to ask for permission to date the woman holding my hand on the porch. The woman was my dead wife's sister. Her name was Vanessa Whitfield. She was 26. She had spent the last 3 months building a life inside the kitchen of the bakery my wife and I had opened together, and she had spent the last 6 weeks sleeping in the bedroom my wife and I had shared. The folder on the dining room table was 3 inches thick. The manila was creased at the corners. There was a private investigator sitting beside it, with a laptop open and a flash drive in his hand. There was an aunt I barely knew standing at the staircase with her arms folded across her chest. My father-in-law was in the doorway. My mother-in-law was at the head of the table, in a navy blouse, with her hands folded the way a journalist folds her hands when she is about to read something into a microphone.
Sit down, Marcus. My daughter wrote a 42-page script before she ever set foot in your bakery. We found it 3 weeks ago in her bedroom drawer at this house. Highlighted, notated, dated. The first draft is from January, 2 months before Sarah died. My younger daughter was rehearsing how to seduce you while my older daughter was still alive. Tonight at 7 p.m., I am going live on my Facebook page and on my YouTube channel. My channel has 400,000 subscribers. I am going to read every line of that script out loud, and I am going to play every clip of security footage from your bakery. And I am going to play the voicemails my younger daughter left on my older daughter's phone in the month before she collapsed and died. By tomorrow morning, every person who ever knew Vanessa Whitfield is going to know what she did. Now sit down and watch the footage with me, Marcus. I want you to see who you have been sleeping with. I want you to see her face on the security camera the morning after my older daughter was buried.
I sat down. My legs gave out before I made it all the way into the chair. That was 4 hours before her name became the top trending search in 3 states. That was 8 hours before her landlord put her belongings on the curb with a sign that read, "Free." That was 72 hours before she was sitting in a holding facility outside Worcester with no attorney, no family, and no name worth saying out loud. But to understand how I ended up in that dining room, holding a bottle of wine I would never open, you have to go back 4 months. To the morning Vanessa Whitfield knocked on the front door of my bakery at 5:47 in the morning. To the canvas bag in her hand. To the cream cashmere sweater. To the leather notebook in my dead wife's handwriting that she said her mother had found in a drawer. To the morning I unlocked the door and let her in. Chapter 2. The Bakery. 5:47 a.m. 4 months earlier. The day I buried my wife was the day I stopped believing in coincidence. Sarah died on a Tuesday in March. Acute cerebral infarction. 33 years old. The doctors said her brain had been screaming for help for months, and none of us, especially not me, had been listening. I was the husband who let her clean the kitchen alone the night her body finally gave up. I was the husband who chose Budweiser and karaoke over a phone call. I was the husband who slept through the early morning hours while my wife collapsed beside the walk-in cooler, her hands still clutching a sanitizing cloth. 6 months later, I reopened the bakery she and I had built together in a small mountain town 2 hours north of Boston. Whitewood paneling, big glass windows facing a pine forest, a parking lot where stray cats and squirrels still came around looking for the breadcrumbs Sarah used to scatter. Everything was the same. Everything except the woman who used to laugh in the kitchen at 4 in the morning while she folded butter into croissant dough. I thought losing Sarah was the worst thing that would ever happen to me. I was wrong. 2 weeks after the bakery reopened, At 5:47 in the morning, somebody knocked on the front door. I was alone in the kitchen with flour up to my elbows. I walked out, half expecting a delivery driver. Instead, I saw a woman through the glass who looked so much like Sarah that for one cruel, beautiful, terrible second, I forgot my wife was dead. It was Vanessa, Sarah's younger sister. 26 years old, Caucasian, tall, with the same auburn hair Sarah had, but wearing it down past her shoulders the way Sarah never did. She was in a cream cashmere sweater that hugged her frame, dark fitted jeans, and a pair of leather boots wet from the morning dew. She was holding a small canvas bag. I hadn't seen her in 6 months, not since the day at my parents' house when she and her father grabbed me by the collar and told me I had killed Sarah. I unlocked the door.
Marcus, hi. Can I come in? I won't stay long, I promise.
I stepped aside and let her walk past me. She smelled like vanilla and something colder, something I didn't recognize at the time but would learn later was a perfume Sarah had hated. She set the canvas bag on the counter and pulled out a small leather notebook. The cover was scuffed. The corners were dog-eared. I knew that notebook. Sarah used to keep it in the apartment, in the drawer beside our bed.
My mother found this when she was clearing out Sarah's old bedroom at the lake house. She thought you should have it.
I opened it. Recipes. In Sarah's handwriting. The vongole pasta. The sourdough starter timeline. The lemon ricotta cake she only made on my birthday. Notes and margins. Smiley faces beside the dishes she liked best. A small heart in pencil beside the carbonara she said was the first dish she had ever cooked for me. I started crying right there in front of the proofing oven. Big, ugly, silent crying. The kind a man does when he hasn't slept in 6 months and his dead wife has just spoken to him from the inside of a notebook.
I'm so sorry, Marcus. I'm so sorry I came at you that day. I was hurting. We were all hurting. Mom and Dad didn't know I was coming here. I just thought you should have this.
She put her hand on my forearm. It rested there for 1 second longer than a sister-in-law's hand should have. I didn't notice it then. I noticed it later, after I learned what kind of woman Vanessa Whitfield really was. After I learned that she had been planning this morning for months. After I learned that the canvas bag, the notebook, the cream sweater, the perfume Sarah had hated, every single one of them was bait, carefully laid by a woman who had decided, somewhere between the funeral and the spring thaw, that her sister's husband, her sister's restaurant, and her sister's whole life were going to belong to her. She left the notebook on my counter. She kissed me on the cheek, very lightly, very briefly, and walked out the door. I should have locked it behind her. I didn't. Chapter 3. The Bakery. 3 weeks later. She came back 4 days later with 2 grocery bags of clams and a bottle of Pinot Grigio.
You said the vongole tastes wrong since Sarah passed. I want to fix it for you.
I led her into the kitchen. She tied on Sarah's apron. The apron Sarah had worn the night she died. Vanessa knew that apron was sacred, and she put it on anyway, and she smiled at me while she did it. She made the pasta. The smell hit me first. White wine, garlic, fresh parsley, the specific timing of when she dropped the clams in. I sat at the bar with a fork in my hand and ate the first plate of food that had tasted like my wife in 6 months. I cried again. She watched me cry with a careful, measured expression, the way a chess player watches an opponent move into a trap.
Sarah and I learned this recipe from our grandmother. We were the only 2 people in the world who knew it. I can teach you if you want. I can come by mornings, just for a little while, until the bakery's back on its feet.
I said yes. I shouldn't have said yes. 3 weeks later, she had a key. 6 weeks later, she had her own apron hanging beside Sarah's on the kitchen hook. 8 weeks later, the regulars stopped asking about Sarah and started asking about her.
Marcus, the bread is ready. Marcus, the table 4 wants the carbonara. Marcus, you forgot to call the produce supplier again. I'll handle it.
She slid into Sarah's life so smoothly, so quietly, so efficiently, that by the time I noticed she was wearing my dead wife's wedding ring on a chain around her neck, the bakery had her name on the deposit slips. The first night, she stayed late. It was a Thursday. We had run out of flour at closing, and she said she would help me drive to the warehouse in the morning. She crashed on the couch in the office. I told her I would sleep in the chair.
Marcus, you don't have to sleep in the chair. You're going to break your back. The couch is big enough. I'm not going to do anything. I'm Sarah's sister. Just come lie down.
I lay down on the couch, 3 feet between us. I told myself I would not cross those 3 feet. I told myself I was only there because I was tired. She crossed them.
Marcus, you haven't been touched in 6 months, have you? I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking it too. I have been thinking it for months. And it's okay. It's okay because Sarah would want this. She would want me to take care of you. Don't pull away. Look at me. I look just like her, don't I?
I'm not going to pretend I was a victim. I wasn't. I was a 35-year-old man who had lost his wife and had a younger version of her face 6 inches from mine, telling me my dead wife wanted this. I crossed the rest of the distance. The first time happened on the office couch, with the Thursday night rain hitting the skylight. She kept whispering that I tasted just like she had imagined. She kept whispering that her sister had been a fool to work herself to death when she had a husband like me. The cashmere sweater came off. The leather boots came off. The wedding ring on the chain stayed on, pressed cold against my chest. And I was too far gone to understand what that detail meant. When it was over, she turned away from me and looked at her phone. The screen lit her face up blue in the dark. She was smiling.
We should keep this between us. For now. Mom and Dad wouldn't understand. Not yet. Marcus, are you asleep? Sleep, baby. I'm just going to step outside for a cigarette. I won't be long.
I closed my eyes. I heard the office door click shut behind her. What I did not know then, but what the prosecutor would play for the jury 14 months later, was that Vanessa walked out into the parking lot at 1:23 in the morning, sat in the front seat of her Honda Civic, and recorded a 4-minute voice memo to her friend Marissa. The voice memo would be entered into evidence as Exhibit 41C. The transcript reads in part.
Marissa, oh my God, he just did it. I won. I literally won. He cried first, like before. He cried for 10 full minutes about Sarah, and then he just folded. I am not even joking, Marissa. My sister was right about him. He finishes too fast. I barely felt anything. I had to pretend the whole time. I had to fake it the way she said she used to fake it. So that's what she meant when she told me he sits on his phone in bed and then suddenly wants her on a Tuesday at midnight. I get it now. The man has been a disappointment in that bed for 10 straight years, and she just kept showing up for him. But it doesn't matter. It does not matter, Marissa. I don't need him to be good. I need him to be grateful. And he is. He is so grateful. He's going to sign anything I put in front of him. Phase 2 starts tomorrow. The apron, the bedroom, the deed. Don't you dare tell anyone. 6 more months and the bakery is mine.
She came back inside 10 minutes later. She slid back onto the couch behind me. She put her hand on my chest and asked if I had slept. I said yes. I told her I agreed. I had just made the second worst mistake of my life. Chapter 4. The Bakery. 6 weeks after. 3 weeks later, she stopped sleeping at her own apartment. A week after that, her clothes filled the closet in our bedroom. Sarah's clothes were in trash bags in the basement.
We can donate them, Marcus. Sarah would want someone to use them. It's not healthy to keep them up there.
She moved Sarah's wedding photos off the bedroom dresser into a drawer. She replaced them with photos of herself. She replaced the bed sheets, the towels, the coffee mugs. She replaced the soap in the shower. I told myself it was healing. I told myself she was helping me grieve. I told myself a lot of things.
Marcus, the regulars love me. Mrs. Patterson asked me yesterday if we were getting married next spring. What did you tell her? I told her we hadn't decided. Was that wrong?
She said it with her hand resting on my forearm. The same gesture from the first morning. I noticed it that time. I just didn't understand it. The second time happened on a Saturday afternoon. The bakery was closed. We had finished prep for the Sunday brunch crowd. She was in Sarah's apron, dusting flour off her hands, and she walked over to where I was bent over the deposit ledger, and she pulled the apron off slowly.
Lock the front door.
I locked it.
Pull down the back blinds.
I pulled them down.
Now sit on the prep counter.
The prep counter was where Sarah had collapsed. The exact same surface. The exact same square footage of stainless steel where my wife's body had been found cold the next morning. Vanessa knew that. She had been there when the police took the photographs. She did it on top of the prep counter anyway. Halfway through, the front door rattled. Somebody knocked. A regular, probably, hoping we had forgotten to lock up. She didn't stop. She put her hand over my mouth and laughed against my ear and made me keep going while the knocking continued for 40 long seconds. When the knocking stopped, she pulled back and looked at me with bright, glittering eyes.
Tell me you love me more than you loved her.
I didn't answer. She asked again.
Tell me, Marcus. Out loud.
I said it. I said it on the same counter where my wife had died, with my wife's apron crumpled on the floor beside us, with my wife's sister's wedding ring on a chain around her neck, and somewhere in the back of my chest something old and quiet broke and didn't make a sound. When we were done, she went to the bathroom. She left her phone on the counter. The screen lit up with a notification, a text message preview, just 2 lines visible, from a contact saved as Aunt Rebecca. The text said, "Did he say it yet? Mom is going to lose her mind when she hears." I should have picked up the phone. I should have read every message. I should have walked to her car right then and dug through the glove compartment. I didn't. I trusted her. The third worst mistake of my life. Chapter 5. The Whitfield Lake House. 3 months after. Sarah's parents lived in a colonial on a small lake an hour east of the bakery. I hadn't been welcome there since the funeral. Vanessa kept saying we should wait. The right moment. The right setting. Mom and Dad needed time. In the meantime, the bakery was thriving. We had a 6-week wait for weekend reservations. Vanessa had insisted on adding her name to the business license, just for tax purposes, just to help with the paperwork. I signed without reading. She had also insisted, very gently, on putting the deed to the bakery's land into a co-ownership agreement, just so that if anything happened to me, the way it had happened to Sarah, she would be able to keep the place running for our future family. I signed that too. The third time happened on a Friday in early summer, in a hotel suite in downtown Boston. She had booked it. She had said it was a surprise, a celebration of the bakery's record month. She had paid with a card I hadn't known existed, a card in a joint account she had opened for the business, a card with a credit limit I would later learn was $30,000. The suite had a city view. She had champagne on ice. She was wearing a silk slip, the same color as the cream sweater from the first morning. She had her hair down past her shoulders, the way her sister never had. She made me say it again. The thing about loving her more. She made me say it 3 times. When I was inside her, she pulled out her phone. I asked her what she was doing. She said she was setting an alarm. The screen was angled away from me. I was too far gone to insist on seeing it. When we finished, she rolled away and answered a text. Her face lit up blue in the dark, the same way it had on the office couch. and she was smiling the same small smile.
Marcus, we should tell my parents this weekend. About us. I think it's time. We've been respectful. We've waited. They love you. They've forgiven you. They're going to be so happy for us.
I believed her. I drove out to the lake house with her on Sunday. I wore a button-down shirt and brought a bottle of wine and rehearsed an apology in the car for 20 miles. She held my hand on the porch and squeezed 3 times before her father opened the door. Her mother was in the foyer. Her father was behind her. Her Aunt Rebecca, the one from the text message, was standing beside the staircase with her arms folded. There was an older man I didn't recognize sitting at the dining room table. He had a laptop open in front of him. Beside the laptop was a thick manila folder. The mood in the house was wrong. Too still. Too quiet.
Mom, Dad, Marcus and I have something to tell you.
Her father didn't move.
Sit down, both of you. Marcus, sit on the chair by the window. Vanessa, sit at the table.
The man with the laptop turned the screen toward me. It was security footage from the bakery. Chapter 6. The Whitfield Lake House. Sunday afternoon. The footage was in time-stamped sequence. 12 clips, each one labeled with a date. Clip 1. The first morning. Vanessa on the porch with the canvas bag. Her hand on my forearm. The kiss on the cheek. Time-stamped 2 weeks after Sarah's funeral. Clip 2. The Thursday night. Vanessa moving her bag to the office couch. The lights going off in the kitchen. Clip 3. The Saturday afternoon on the prep counter. I felt the blood drain out of my face.
Daddy, that footage is private. That's our property. You can't.
Vanessa, be quiet. Marcus, look at the next clip. Pay attention.
The man at the laptop clicked forward. The clip was from inside the bakery's office. Vanessa, alone, going through the filing cabinet. She was pulling out the original deed papers. She was photographing them with her phone. She was on a phone call. The audio came up.
He signed the co-ownership last night. Yes, the full deed. No, he didn't read it. No, of course he didn't read it. He hasn't read anything in 3 months. I told you. Yes, I have the photos. I have the texts. I have the security camera in the bedroom. We're set.
The man clicked forward. Another clip. Vanessa in our bedroom. The bedroom Sarah and I had shared. She was setting up a small camera on the bookshelf. She was angling it toward the bed. The man clicked forward. Another clip. From a body camera Vanessa had been wearing as a brooch on the cream sweater. The first morning. The kitchen. Me crying over the recipe notebook. The audio was crystal clear. The angle showed her face in the reflection of the proofing oven glass. She wasn't crying. She was watching me, expression flat, eyes calculating. And as I dropped my forehead onto the counter, she mouthed very clearly the words, "There you go," exactly like the script said. The script. Vanessa's mother spoke for the first time.
We found the script in your bedroom drawer at the lake house, Vanessa. 42 pages, printed, highlighted, notes in the margins. The recipe notebook, your idea. The Pinot Grigio, your idea. The body camera and the brooch, your idea. The script that walked you through every line you said to him for the first 6 weeks, your idea. You wrote the words, "I look just like her, don't I?" before you ever set foot in his bakery. You wrote them 3 days after your sister's funeral.
The room was silent. The kind of silent that has weight. The kind of silent where you can hear the lake water lapping against the dock outside. I looked at Vanessa. She was not crying. She was already looking at the door. Chapter 7. The Whitfield Lake House. The sentence.
Mom, listen to me. He came on to me. He was the one who started it. I was just trying to comfort him after Sarah and he took advantage of me. Look at him. He's twice my age. I didn't.
Vanessa, we have the bedroom camera. We have your audio. We have you on the phone with Aunt Rebecca laughing about how easy he was. We have you reading the script out loud to your friend Marissa over FaceTime 2 months before Sarah died. 2 months before, Vanessa.
I didn't understand the words for a second. They didn't register. Then they did. I stood up out of the chair. The world tilted sideways. 2 months before Sarah died. Sarah's mother was holding a printed transcript. She was reading from it. She was reading from her own daughter's voice.
Marissa, I am telling you, the second she's out of the picture, I have got a 6-month plan to take that bakery and that man. He cheated on her in their first year. She told me. He's weak. He drinks. He ignores her. She works 14-hour shifts and he plays golf with his suppliers. She is going to break Marissa. And when she does, I am going to be there with a recipe notebook and a sob story, and he is going to fall right into my lap. Are you kidding? Of course I love her. She's my sister. But she's been in my way since we were kids. She got the cooking talent, she got the husband, she got the restaurant. I'm done waiting. And honestly, Marissa, between you and me, I have been listening to my sister complain about that man for years. She told me he finishes too fast. She told me he hasn't touched her properly in 2 years. She told me he sits on his phone in bed and then suddenly wants her on a Tuesday at midnight. She is exhausted, Marissa. She's tapped out. I'm just going to be the soft landing he didn't know he wanted. He'll be so grateful he'll sign anything I put in front of him. He cheated on her in their first year of marriage with a sous chef from his old kitchen. Sarah told me. She forgave him. She is too good for him. She always has been. So no, I don't feel bad. He was never hers to keep. He was just on a long lease.
I sat back down because my legs gave out. I tried to speak. The sound that came out wasn't a word. It was the sound a man makes when his entire understanding of the last 4 months has just been pulled out of his chest and laid on a dining room table for his dead wife's mother to read out loud. I tried again. I never cheated on Sarah. I said it to the room. I said it 3 times. The first time was a whisper. The second was louder. The third I said while looking directly at Vanessa, who was standing very still beside the staircase, with her hand on the banister, with her face very white. I never cheated on her. Not once. Vanessa knows I never cheated on Sarah. Sarah knew it too. Vanessa is lying to her friend on that recording because she thought it would make me sound easier to catch. Sarah's mother nodded once, slowly. She turned to her younger daughter. Sarah's father turned to me.
Marcus. My daughter Sarah called her mother the night she died. At 11:43 p.m. we have the call. She said she had been getting threatening voicemails for a month, from a number she didn't recognize. She said she was scared. She said she thought somebody was watching the bakery. We pulled the phone records last week. The number traced back to a burner phone purchased at a gas station in Worcester in January. The gas station has security footage. The buyer was Vanessa. My daughter died of an acute cerebral infarction caused by overwork and stress. The coroner said the stress level in her blood work was off the charts for a woman her age. We always wondered why. Now we know.
Vanessa stood up.
You have no proof of any of that. None of it. The voicemails were a coincidence. Anyone could have bought that phone. You're my parents. I'm your daughter. You're going to take his side over mine?
We are not taking sides, Vanessa. We are calling the police.
Chapter 8. The Whitfield Lake House, Sunday evening. The man with the laptop was a private investigator. The Whitfields had hired him 3 weeks earlier, when Aunt Rebecca had finally shown them the text messages Vanessa had been sending her for 6 months. He had pulled the bakery footage with my consent that I had signed years ago when I had installed the cameras and put my mother-in-law on the emergency contact list. He had pulled the phone records. He had interviewed Marissa, Vanessa's friend, who had broken down crying within 20 minutes of the conversation, and handed over every voicemail, every screenshot, every audio clip Vanessa had ever sent her. He had brought a flash drive. The flash drive contained 8 gigabytes of evidence. Vanessa's mother, who I will tell you is a 60-year-old woman with a master's degree in journalism and 40 years of contacts in the regional media, had already drafted a statement.
Vanessa, you have 1 hour to leave this house. The police will be here at 6 p.m. You can either be here when they arrive, or you can be at the precinct turning yourself in. Your father and I will not be paying for your attorney. Your father and I will not be visiting you. Your father and I will not be calling you our daughter again until you have served whatever the court decides you have earned. At 7 p.m. tonight, I am going live on my Facebook page and on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel has 400,000 subscribers. My Facebook reaches every single person who knew your sister, every single family in our town, every single chef and restaurant supplier within 200 miles of that bakery, and every single one of your college friends and former classmates, because I have been collecting their information for 3 months while you thought I was watching cooking shows. I am going to play every clip. The script, the audio call with Marissa, the bedroom camera, the phone you bought at the gas station, the voicemails to your sister. Every single one. You are going to walk out of this house in the next hour, Vanessa, and by morning, your face is going to be on every local news outlet from here to Providence, and your name is going to be the first result anyone ever Googles about you for the rest of your life. You took my daughter from me, my living daughter and my dead daughter both. So tonight I am taking you off the planet.
Vanessa was shaking.
Mom? Mom, please. Please. Don't do this. I'll do anything. I'll sign the bakery back. I'll sign everything back. I'll move out of state. I'll never speak to him again. Please, Mom. Daddy, please. You can't let her do this. Daddy, look at me. I made a mistake. I made a horrible mistake. I'll go to therapy. I'll check myself in somewhere. I'll do whatever you want. Just please don't put my face on the internet. Please don't let her do this to me. Mom, you are my mother. You are supposed to protect me. You are supposed to forgive me. Sarah would forgive me. Sarah would. Sarah loved me. She would not want this for me.
Don't you dare say her name. Don't you dare put your sister's name in your mouth in this house. Not after what you did. Not after what you wrote about her. Not after the voicemails. You called her at 2 a.m, Vanessa. You called her from a burner phone, and you whispered things into her voicemail that I had to listen to with the investigator last week. You told her you were watching her. You told her she should be careful in the parking lot. You told her you knew she was alone in the kitchen on Tuesday nights. You did this for a month before she collapsed. Do you have any idea what it was like to listen to those voicemails, Vanessa? To hear my older daughter's killer breathing into the phone in my younger daughter's voice? I am not your mother tonight. I am Sarah's mother. And Sarah's mother is going to spend the next hour drafting a statement that ends your social existence.
Mom, the prep counter. I wasn't trying to.
You wrote it down, Vanessa. You wrote it down in week 9 of your script. You wrote in your own handwriting, and I quote, "The prep counter is where she died. Use it in week 9. He is Catholic. It will break him. It will break the last piece of him that still belongs to her." You wrote that down. 47 minutes.
Daddy.
Don't say my name in my house. Get your purse, get your keys, get out. If I see you on this property again before your trial, I will call the police myself. 46 minutes, Vanessa. Move.
Chapter 9. The Bakery. Sunday evening. I didn't watch her leave. Sarah's father drove me back to the bakery in his old Ford F-150. He did not speak for the first 30 miles. When he finally did, it was at a red light at the edge of our small town, while the sun was setting orange over the pine trees Sarah had loved.
Marcus, you were a bad husband to my daughter for the last year of her life. You let her work herself to death. You partied with your suppliers. You ignored her phone call the night she died. You knew it was her. You ignored it anyway. My wife and I have been hating you for 9 months, since the day she went into the ground. We had a list, Marcus, a literal list, of what you did wrong. We sat at the kitchen table the week after the funeral and we wrote it down. The dinner with the suppliers, the phone call, the morning you slept in, the kitchen you didn't clean, the way you started dressing like you were 30 years old again instead of 35 and married, the way Sarah cried at our house in February and told her mother that she felt invisible in her own marriage. We had it all, Marcus. We were going to give that list to a lawyer.
I didn't say anything. There's nothing to say.
But then Aunt Rebecca came to my wife 3 weeks ago, and she put her phone on the kitchen table, and she played the audio clips that my younger daughter had been sending her. And the list got smaller, Marcus. The list got a lot smaller. You didn't kill her, Marcus. My other daughter killed her. And you almost let her finish the job by letting her take everything Sarah built. So tonight, you are going to sit in that bakery, and you are going to lock every door, and you are going to watch my wife's live stream with the rest of the world, and you are going to remember every single moment of your wife's life that you took for granted. You are going to remember the night she stayed late to clean. You are going to remember the morning you slept in. You are going to remember every supplier dinner you went to instead of going home. You are going to sit with all of it, Marcus. Every minute of it. And tomorrow, when you wake up, you are going to start being the man Sarah deserved, even though she is no longer here to receive it. You are going to run that bakery in her name. You are not going to date for at least 2 years. You are not going to bring another woman into that kitchen for at least 5. You are going to come to our house every Sunday for dinner, and you are going to sit at the table where my wife and I sit, and you are going to listen when we tell stories about Sarah, and you are not going to interrupt. Are we clear?
I nodded. He let me out at the bakery. I walked inside. I locked the front door. I walked back into the kitchen, and I stood in front of the prep counter where my wife had died, and where her sister had laughed against my ear 3 months later. And I put both palms flat on the steel, and I cried until I couldn't breathe. At 7 p.m. exactly, my phone buzzed. It was a notification from the Whitfield family Facebook page. The live stream had started. Chapter 10. Online, Sunday night, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Sarah's mother was calm on camera. She was wearing a navy blouse. She was sitting in the dining room at the lake house with the manila folder open in front of her. She introduced herself. She said her name. She said she was the mother of Sarah Whitfield, who had passed away 9 months ago. She said many of you knew Sarah. She said many of you loved her. She said she had something to tell us about how Sarah died. Then she played the clips. She played them in chronological order, the script first. Vanessa, on FaceTime with her friend, 2 months before Sarah's death, laying out a 6-month plan to take her sister's life. The voicemails Sarah had received. The phone call to her mother on the night she died. The threatening texts. Then the footage from the bakery. The first morning. The Thursday night. The Saturday afternoon. The body camera audio. She did not show the explicit footage. She blurred it. She muted the audio at the worst parts. She kept it tasteful because she was a journalist, and she knew the line between exposure and exploitation. But she played the script. She played it word for word. The script had a section labeled Phase 3, weeks 5 through 8. It read like stage directions. It said things like, cry on his shoulder when discussing Sarah's overwork. Wear the perfume she hated. Move into the bedroom by week 6. Establish power over the deed by week 8. Use the prep counter in week 9. It will break him completely. It said, use the line about Sarah wanting this. He is Catholic. It will work. Sarah's mother read every line out loud. She paused after the line about the prep counter.
My older daughter died on that prep counter. My younger daughter wrote, in her own handwriting, that she was going to use that counter to seduce my older daughter's husband. I want every person watching this to understand what kind of human being my younger daughter is. My name is Eleanor Whitfield. I have been a journalist for 40 years. I have covered 3 congressional races, 2 governors, a senator who lied to a federal grand jury, and a sitting mayor who was indicted for embezzlement. I have never, in 4 decades of work, had to write the words I am about to say. My younger daughter, Vanessa Lynn Whitfield of Worcester, Massachusetts, sat in the bedroom of my home in January of last year and wrote a 42-page document on her laptop describing how she planned to seduce her older sister's husband, take ownership of her older sister's restaurant, and step into her older sister's life. She did this 2 months before her older sister died. We have the document. We have the file metadata. We have the laptop. The metadata shows the document was created on January 11th last year at 1:14 in the morning. It was edited 47 times over a period of 3 months. The final version was saved on the day after my older daughter's funeral. The day after I buried my older daughter, my younger daughter saved the final draft of her plan to take everything Sarah had built. I am not going to read every line of the document tonight. The relevant excerpts are in the description below this video on a publicly accessible Google Drive folder. The investigator's report is also there. The phone records are there. The voicemails to my older daughter are there. Everything is there. Watch it, verify it, share it. I have one daughter left. Her name was Vanessa. As of tonight, I have no daughters. Vanessa, if you are watching this, and I know you are, I want you to understand something. You did not just take a husband. You did not just take a restaurant. You took my older daughter's last 6 months of life. You wrote her threatening voicemails for a month. You parked outside her bakery. You followed her car. The coroner told us her stress hormone levels were higher than any patient he had ever seen for a woman her age. He could not understand why. Now we understand why. You killed your sister, Vanessa. Maybe not with your hands, but you killed her with your patience. And tonight, the entire town is going to know your name. And I want every person watching this to share this video.
The live stream peaked at 140,000 concurrent viewers. By midnight, the original Facebook post had 2 million shares. By morning, Vanessa Whitfield was the top trending name on 3 regional news outlets. By the end of the week, her face was on the local CBS affiliate, her name was in the Boston Globe, and a true crime podcast with 11 million monthly listeners had picked up the story. She was charged on Tuesday with stalking, with criminal harassment in connection to Sarah's threatening voicemails, with multiple counts of fraud related to the bakery deed, and with felony invasion of privacy for the bedroom camera. The district attorney also opened a separate investigation into whether the stress caused by her harassment had contributed materially to Sarah's death. She did not get bail. Her court-appointed attorney withdrew within 48 hours after she screamed at him in a public hallway. Her former employer fired her by email. Her landlord posted her belongings on the curb of her apartment building with a sign that read, "Free." Her college reached out to confirm that her degree would be reviewed, and her sorority chapter publicly removed her name from their alumni page. Marissa, the friend, gave a televised interview in which she cried on camera and said she had been afraid of Vanessa for years. The full clip ran for 9 minutes on the local CBS affiliate. The most shared excerpt was 30 seconds long. Marissa was wearing a black sweater and her hair was pulled back. She was sitting in front of a beige curtain. Her hands were shaking around a paper cup of water.
I knew about the script in October. She showed me the first draft on her laptop while we were drinking wine in her apartment. I thought she was joking. I thought it was a dark joke about her sister's marriage. I laughed. I laughed at it. When Sarah died in March, I knew. I knew the second I got the text. I sat on the floor of my bathroom and I threw up. I should have called somebody. I should have called Sarah. I should have called the police. I should have called her mother. I didn't. I was scared of Vanessa. Vanessa has always been like this. She always wins. People who get in her way always end up looking like the bad guy. I have known her since we were 11. I was her bridesmaid in a fake wedding she made us play in 7th grade. I want to apologize to Sarah's mother. I want to apologize to Sarah's father. I want to apologize to Sarah's husband. I should have spoken up in October. I am so sorry. If anyone watching this is in a friendship with somebody like Vanessa, please listen to me. Please. Get out. Tell somebody. Don't laugh at the dark joke. The dark joke is never a joke.
Aunt Rebecca did the morning radio circuit. She was the one who had broken the news to Eleanor. She was the one who had been receiving Vanessa's bragging text messages for 6 months. Her interviews were calmer than Marissa's. Her most quoted line was a single sentence she said to a Boston AM host on a Tuesday at 8 in the morning.
My niece confused patience with planning. She thought because no one stopped her in the first month, no one would stop her in the 6th. She forgot that her mother is a journalist. She forgot what journalists do for a living. She forgot that I am her mother's sister. And she forgot that I have been keeping receipts on this family for 40 years, because that is what aunts do. We keep the receipts. We watch. We wait. And when our nieces decide to do something unforgivable, we hand the receipts to their mothers.
The district attorney held a press conference on the following Thursday. He stood in front of a podium with the state seal behind him.
My office has reviewed the evidence in the matter of Vanessa Lynn Whitfield of Worcester. Based on that evidence, we are filing the following charges. Felony stalking, 6 counts. Criminal harassment, 4 counts. Invasion of privacy in the first degree, 3 counts. Identity theft and fraud related to a real estate transfer, 2 counts. And finally, a charge that I will let the public read for themselves on the indictment, which is reckless endangerment resulting in death. The reckless endangerment charge alleges that the defendant's sustained pattern of stalking and harassment of her own sister over a period of at least 4 months materially contributed to the medical event that killed her. We will be presenting the coroner's revised report to the grand jury next week. To the family of Sarah Whitfield, on behalf of this office and on behalf of the Commonwealth, I want to say this. Your daughter's death was not natural. Your daughter's death was caused. We are going to prove that in court. We are going to ask for the maximum sentence the statute allows.
Sarah's mother did not stop. She did not slow down. She gave 7 interviews in the first week. She founded a small nonprofit dedicated to helping the families of women who had died from overwork and stress-related conditions. And she named it after her older daughter. Vanessa Whitfield is, as of this recording, still in a holding facility outside Worcester awaiting trial. She has not been visited by anyone. Not her mother. Not her father. Not her aunt. Not me. Chapter 11. The Bakery. 1 year after. I closed the bakery for 2 weeks after the live stream. When I reopened, I did so under a new name. The Sarah Whitfield Bakery. Her parents helped me pay for the new sign. Her father helped me build the new front door. Her mother painted the small dedication that hangs above the proofing oven. It is a line in Sarah's handwriting, photographed from the recipe notebook Vanessa had used as bait, magnified and printed in white on dark wood. The line says, "Cook like somebody you love is going to eat it." I have hired a kind older woman from the next town over to help me in the kitchen. Her name is Margaret. She is 68. She does not look anything like my dead wife. That is deliberately the point. Margaret was a line cook for 30 years before she retired, and she does not put up with anything from anyone, including me. Marcus, you're burning the focaccia again. I have told you 4 times this week. The convection oven runs 10 degrees hot. You set it lower or you stand here and watch it. Pick one. And another thing, you light that candle for Sarah every morning, which is sweet, but you never blow it out at night. I have been blowing it out for you for 3 months. You are going to burn this place down. Sarah did not survive a burglar in 2019 just for you to lose her bakery to a wax fire in 2026.
W.
You hear me? Eyes up, look at me. You are still grieving, and that is fine. And you can grieve for as long as you need to. But this bakery is open 6 days a week, and the regulars are paying for bread, not for your sad eyes. Go wash your hands. The dough is rising. Margaret keeps me honest in a way I needed for a long time and did not know how to ask for. Sarah's mother gave a 1-year anniversary interview to the same Boston AM host who had run Aunt Rebecca's segment. The interview was 18 minutes long. The host asked her how she was doing. She did not answer that question. She answered a different one.
I will tell you what I have learned in the year since I lost both of my daughters. I have learned that grief is a room. You walk into it. You stay in it for as long as you need to stay in it. And then you walk out of it, when you are ready, into a different room, which is the rest of your life. I have walked out of the grief room. I am in the rest of my life room now. My older daughter is buried in a cemetery north of Worcester. I visit her every Sunday. I bring her flowers. I tell her about the nonprofit. I tell her about the bakery. I tell her that her husband is doing better, slowly, the way a man does better when he has been forced to look at himself in a mirror he had been avoiding for a decade. My younger daughter is in a women's correctional facility outside Framingham. She was sentenced to 14 years. She will be eligible for parole in 9. I have not visited her. I have not written to her. I will not in this lifetime. She wrote me a letter in February. I returned it unopened. She wrote me another in April. I returned that one too. She has stopped writing. People ask me if I will ever forgive her. The answer is no. People ask me if that makes me a bad mother. The answer is also no. A bad mother is a woman who lets her younger child get away with murder because she is afraid of looking like a bad mother. I am not that woman. I will never be that woman. And to any mother watching this who has a daughter like mine, listen carefully. You will know. You will always know. You will tell yourself you don't know. You will tell yourself it's a phase. You will tell yourself she will grow out of it. She will not grow out of it. The signs were there when she was 11. The signs were there when she was 16. The signs were there when she was 22. I saw every one of them, and I told myself I was a paranoid mother. Trust your gut. Believe the small cruelties. The small cruelties become the big ones. They always do.
Sarah's mother and father come to the bakery for dinner every Sunday. We sit at a corner booth, and we share a bottle of wine, and we tell each other stories about Sarah. We never speak the other daughter's name. I have not been with another woman since the night on the prep counter. I do not plan to be for a long time, maybe ever. The recipe was never the secret. The secret was that Sarah had loved me, and I had been too busy with my own ego to notice. I light a candle for Sarah every morning when I unlock the front door. Margaret blows it out every night. That is enough. That is all for tonight's story. Thank you for listening to the long story until the end. If this story moved you, please subscribe and like, and share it with somebody who needs to hear that grief does not give anyone a free pass to take advantage of you. We will be back next week with another story. Until then, take care of yourselves and take care of the people you love while you still have them.